Welcome to this overview presentation of golf course irrigation. One of the most difficult management decisions to make on a golf course is when and how and with how much water to irrigate with. Depending on the location too, concerns of water availability and quality will also influence irrigation practices. Nature's role is an important consideration in irrigation practices because irrigation is supplemental applications of water to what nature applies. During those periods when there's not enough natural rainfall, irrigation needs to be used. And in some situations, excessive rainfall occurs. And thus, how a golf course is designed to handle excessive moisture through drainage, both surface and subsurface, is important in overall irrigation programs. In this presentation, we will look at sources of water, irrigation components and systems, and determine water requirements and methods for identifying moisture deficits. A major source for irrigation is groundwater. The water source for this pumping station is located 100 or more feet below the surface. In the previous photograph, the pumping station was exposed, but in most cases the pumps are in a protected pump house, which is shown here. Sources of irrigation water also include lakes or ponds, or streams and rivers. In Ohio, for example, 32% of the water used for irrigating golf courses comes from lakes and ponds. 26% comes from wells or groundwater, 13% from streams or rivers, and 15% is a combination of the previous sources mentioned. Less than 14% comes from public water or municipal water sources. Increasingly, affluent water is being used as an irrigation source on golf courses, especially out in the arid and semi-arid regions of the United States. The major reason for this use is that potable water is being restricted by municipalities, and thus the only available water from water supply facilities is effluent. Looking a little closer at wastewater treatment facilities and the stages or different types of affluent water, we can break those down into three types. The first is primary, which is the removal of solids. Secondary, which removes organic impurities, and then the final one, tertiary, which is the further removal of impurities and is considered the highest level of treatment. Tertiary is the primary affluent water source for golf courses. In this photograph, this is the water treatment facility that is used at the Indian Cache Creek Hotel and Casino outside of Sacramento, California. A portion of the affluent water from the hotel and casino is used for irrigating its golf course. Actually, the affluent water in this case is a better quality than the potable water that they receive from this stream. The water from this stream has originated from the surrounding mountains. Generally speaking, affluent water is brought directly to the golf course and deposited and blended with natural or potable water in irrigation ponds as shown here. In some instances, however, affluent water is applied directly to the turf through the irrigation system. In this case, the main pipe shown here runs from the sewage treatment facility directly into the irrigation pump house. Affluent water sources need to be monitored and regularly tested to evaluate the suitability for turf use. This is an example of the types of tests and recommendations that might be found on a water test report. Frequent use of affluent or any water high in salts can cause injury to the turf as shown here. Symptoms of salt injury look similar to drought injury, with leaf firing a common leaf symptom. Periodic leaching or heavy irrigation is required to wash or move the salts down through the root zone. Salt injury from affluent water use can occur to landscape plants. Effluent water applied through the irrigation sprinklers around this tree caused the salt injury. Irrigating with effluent water should be closely monitored to make sure the water is not applied to non-target landscape plants. Regardless of water source, once a source of water is secured, the water needs to be extracted from the source, in this case a pond, and moved into the irrigation system. Where the pump or pumps are located is known as the pumping station. A pump house protects the pumps from the environment and for security reasons, such as reducing the risk of vandalism. Centrifugal pumps are the primary pumps used on golf courses. These pumps contain a rotating part called an impeller, which produces the needed pressure or energy to move water up from the source into the irrigation system. The number of pumps may range from one to multiple ones, like the 4 shown here as part of the Ohio State University golf course. Normally, a smaller pump kicks on first, and this pump is termed a booster or a jockey pump, and it kind of primes the system, and then the larger pumps, as measured by horsepower, will kick on. Once the water is pumped to the golf course, there are 3 types of irrigation designs for dispersing water over a golf course, which are referred to as either automatic, semi-automatic, and manual or quick coupler systems. Automatic systems are comprised of pop-up heads that are automatically activated by valves that are triggered from a computerized satellite or master control box. The advantage of the automatic systems is that they can be programmed to activate sprinkler heads at a specific time and for a given period. Semi-automatic systems require a manual operation to activate the valve which turns on the sprinkler heads. In some cases, semi-automatic may refer to the greens and tees being automatic and the fairways on a manual system. The last type of irrigation system, and the oldest, is termed manual, which uses a quick coupling system. A manual system consists of a quick coupler valve that is attached to the irrigation pipe, a quick coupler key, and a rotary sprinkler head. The quick coupler key is inserted into the valve and turned with the handle, activating water flow directly to the sprinkler head. In this case, the quick coupler key is attached to a hose where the water is being applied by hand. As a note of caution, when using a quick coupler, do not place your head or any part of your body directly over the valve. When the quick coupler key is turned, water is released directly up into the sprinkler, and the potential exists that the sprinkler or water attachment may break, allowing water to rush directly up into one's face or body, causing injury. Rotary sprinkler heads are the most common types of sprinklers found on golf courses. However, various types of sprinkler heads may be used for different situations, including around green surrounds, or in this case, around a bunker. To produce the optimum water distribution, sprinkler heads should work at the correct pressure to give a uniform distribution pattern radiating away from the sprinkler head. In this schematic, the sprinkler is working at the correct pressure, producing a wedge pattern in water distribution. In other words, the further away from the sprinkler head, the amount of water delivered decreases linearly. If too much pressure exists, uneven distribution occurs, due in a large part because the water droplets are too small and susceptible to drift. Thus, the distribution pattern becomes more random. Conversely, if not enough pressure is present, large drops are produced that tend to be distributed unevenly further from the sprinkler. Proper sprinkler spacing should produce an overlapping water distribution pattern, oftentimes referred to as a head-to-head distribution. Schematically, an even water distribution occurs when one sprinkler head throws water to the next and vice versa, again being referred to as a head-to-head distribution. This concludes the first part on irrigation.